Yes, everybody. It's 11:30 on a Sunday night, bank holiday Sunday. No work tomorrow. Me and the team are in here shooting some content, and we thought, you know what? It's time to get some long form content out. If you don't know me, I'm going to introduce myself in just a second. But here's the aim of the game. We were like, how do we script this? How do we plan this? What directions do we go? What do we do now so it fits later? And we're actually like, you know what? Or my plan was, you know what? Let me just give everyone everything at all times, and the value I know will be insane. My name is Jack, if you don't know me. I am 24 years old. I've built multiple seven-figure businesses. I made some huge mistakes. I've lost a lot of money. I strongly believe that there's not many people in the UK who have done what I've done and want to help people on social media and on YouTube without having to sell you a course or whatever that will be. You'll never see that on my channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down to you exactly where my journey's been from the age of 19 years old. What the journey's been like in the past 2 years, the mad things we've achieved, and then I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that I believe have helped me do it. I felt like at the start there was a lot of luck involved with building the first 2 seven-figure businesses. I'll let you know how they kind of came about, and then how I got huge confirmation and confidence when literally lost those two, like everything I built up for 4 years, I lost them completely. Start of 2024, we're now a year and a half later, not even a year and a half later yet. And yeah, we nearly done £1 million in the last 30 days. That's like income, which is great. Obviously not profit. We can get into those numbers later. But yeah, here's how it went. Here's all of it. And here's what I've learned so far about, well, I guess if you stay to the end of this video, or if you're one of the smart people who stay to the end of this video, you're going to understand my mindset on driving revenue fast, defeating the bullshit beliefs about making money or building wealth has to take 50, 60 years. Because I believe if you're a person who thinks becoming a millionaire by the time you're 50 or 60 is success, then it's just completely wrong. Like, that's just not the way to do it. That is not success, because you're basically losing your bodily functions and you've got a bit of money to play with. If you're young, or actually, do you know what? More so at this point, if you want it sooner, hopefully everything that I show you is going to give you, number one, the belief, and number two, actionable steps on how you can get there. So if you go back to 2019, that is when I started my business journey. I started selling on Amazon. All right, took a loan out, got a bit of money, went into business with the family, so that was that. And then also in 2019, a bit later in 2019, I started JAC, which is Jack's Amazon Club. I also started my personal brand, which is RealJackDamz, basically the same name on all platforms. Started that, hit them pretty hard. I'm gonna skip most of the story. But I lost both of these businesses in a family feud, or one kind of went down the pan because it was part of that, and then one I just left and avoided a big legal battle last year, which was pretty brutal, but it basically meant everything up until 2024 that I'd ever earned to 2020, 21, 22, 23. Everything I built up over those 5 years, I lost. I built Amazon to that was doing about, by that point, a few million a year, let's just say. Very good profit margins on that one as well. 400, 500, 600K profit a year. Jack's Amazon Club was a super impressive business as well. I'll give an explanation behind that. I learned how to grow quickly on Amazon. I started social media. I was talking to people through my story. I wasn't selling them anything. I was just building up a social media following throughout COVID. And people loved it and asked me to put together some sort of teaching model. Jack's Amazon Club, I'm going to give a rough number now, but Jack's Amazon Club pretty much did 3 million. It was probably a bit more than that. And as you can imagine, it was mentoring. So it was an e-commerce education model. It wasn't a course. We literally took people through, built a community around every individual we worked with. And I was able to scale that to 3 million without any ad spend, any cost behind it. It was amazing. All while my Amazon business was scaling nicely alongside it too. So that's kind of how the journey started. And of course, there was always that element of like, did I get lucky here? Obviously, I had multiple seven-figure businesses. It was wonderful, scaled them really nicely. I literally learned everything from top to bottom about Amazon. Never knew anything about Amazon before in my life. And then obviously social media, never knew that before. I just built up a really good brand. I guess the tip for that is like, I won't go too much into like the personal branding angle, but yeah. Went out there, was honest, was transparent, and people loved it, and then built a fantastic info product, I guess, around that, which was awesome. I did fall out of love with that, with Jack's Amazon Club. It boomed when I was passionate about it, and I was passionate about helping people. But as costs built over the years, as it became like, basically this here, my personal brand, it slowly started becoming like I've got to make content today so I can grow this. And it completely defeated the point as to why I wanted to do that. So around, start of 2023, I really lost love with Jack's Amazon Club and started slowing it down, basically. That was the plan. But if we start in 2024 was where everything kind of went a little bit left. So of course, my personal brand, I've been growing this whole time. It hasn't gone anywhere. JAC, start of 2024 was a really, really bad place. It had debts like bills, etc. I signed up to a couple of warehouses or whatever. Family feud with that business or whatever. 2024, I lost both of those businesses. I lost all the money that came with that. And this had about 120K left. And it had about, let's just say, I'm not gonna get exact numbers, but 30K debt a month, oh no, sorry, not even 30K debt. It was like 30K loss per month. It was making about 30K and, 20K a month, and it had 50K worth of expenses, staff bills, financing a machine, all shit like that. So that was that, and not ideal at all. So that had 4 months left. So by January, February, March, April 2024, this business, the Amazon business, I completely lost and came out of it with nothing. And there was a huge nest egg in there for me, basically everything I'd ever earned. Huge nest egg in there for me. I lost all of that. I handed it back over because I didn't want to get involved in what could have been pretty nasty. April 2024, this business got shut down. Jack's Amazon Club got shut down, which was end of a cool era. Met some amazing people through it. I could have carried it on. It was still making anywhere between 20 and 30, 40, 50K a month. Like the last one we did was like 60K, which was cool. But I'm under the assumption that if I don't love it, I don't want to do it. And I really didn't want to keep using my social media to sell something to people. You know, even though the service was great, it got like incredible results. Not everyone succeeded, but of course, once you hand them the strategy, it's down to them. After that, you need to be an astute business person. I actually had foresight of all this happening. Obviously in January, I could see that going down the pan. In January, I could see that business obviously going in a very bad direction as well. So I had some foresight to start my current businesses, which is agency and a brand. And there's a few offshoots here, there and everywhere. Now, I'm gonna just fast forward to today or the last 30 days or like where we are with this. And then I'm gonna go through like everything that I believe has helped, or like, and basically just knock out all the bullshit beliefs that you might have on like what took or what it took to actually achieve this, okay? So last month, and these are rough figures, we actually checked it out because I made a video on it and I was like, yeah, let's actually check what the exact figures are. So I'll give closer figures here, but like the last 30 days, let's just say, that's done that, which is great. The brand has done, I think it was like, I was on behind the camera, you remember, it was like 550. No, it was 550 and 250. It was like 600K basically. It was actually more than that because I forgot the 75, 80K from Shopify. So it's about 900K in the past month on turnover. Obviously profit margin for each is probably actually quite similar after all said and done. Sorry, not profit margin, actualized profit from each of them is pretty similar. So that was proper, but look, it's a couple 100,000. It won't go any further than that. It says enough as it needs to. That's where we are. For this business, I had nothing to start off with because of the debts from the last business. I had nothing to start off with. It was completely bootstrapped. I hired a member of staff, let's say for 5K a month in January. I had to make 5K a month to pay that bill, and I was in a bit of trouble. I had some personal funds, but I was in a bit of trouble. Jack's Amazon Club still had, like, that entity had still had 20, 30K a month in debts or whatever it was. This business, me and my business partner, started with 4K in. He actually had to sell his, unreal, he had to sell his car to fund that 4K. So that's where we are today. I am gonna explain to you why I think we were able to grow so quickly with these businesses. I think where I wanna start with here is like, through the YouTube journey, I'm gonna get very, very granular with everything. I'm gonna go like, here's how you do this piece of business. Here's how I don't know. I wanna break it down massively in every step and portion of business that I possibly can. But today I wanna go pretty holistic on it and like, here are the values that I walk with when I say, I'm starting a business, it should go very far, because there is a thing of like, someone else might have started a brand at the start of last year, they're doing 10K a month profit and they think that's that's fine and that's fair growth, where they probably could have done the same thing had they walked and learnt with, or walked and acted with the same values that I do. And the first thing I want to do is like show you the difference between like actual success, like, or what successful people do versus what people who aren't succeeding think they're doing right is. And I think that's the way to start, right? So here's the journey of like the successful person, and like this is actually it, and I want to be like, this is absolute matter of fact, versus like non-successful, right? And this is where it begins. And like I said, I'm going to go holistic with it. You might have heard it before, but I think my explanation will offer a lot of value for everyone, right? And a successful person is they're going to have a big old list of fail, and so on and so forth, right? The time frame of this, I don't know, let's say 1 year, right? Let's say this is where I was, because actually realistically, I started toying around with TikTok Shop at the start of 2023. The reason I haven't included this, but I started my first TikTok Shop brand mid-2023, and we actually scaled it to 1 million in 5 months, but I lost that with the business, if that makes sense. But realistic, so I'll actually say this is my time frame. A non-successful person will actually be failing for quite some time, and their perception on failing will be very, very different as well. So this person, fail means didn't scale to 100K a month, let's say. And that's very reasonable. Like me saying, oh yeah, we've done 900K in the past month, like after a year and 5 months, okay, that's great, but like that's not huge either. There are some businesses that make that look tiny that would have started at the start of last year as well, right? So the non-successful person would literally, in the same 1 year time frame, take the same steps of this one failure here, just this one, not all of them, but take the same steps as this one failure here and spread that over a year's amount of time, yeah? So they'll start the business, okay? They will live with the mindset of, right, and you would have heard this many a times in life as well, good things take time. Right? Or success is time-based, which really makes me cringe as well. So this person will be like, success is time-based. So if I'm not successful in this first year, I will be okay. Versus like my outlook was like, why is it not popping off? Why is it not popping off quickly? And I'll give you like, in respect to, okay, here's the general like quote, right? It's success does not take time. It takes a significant amount of failures. Now, the faster you can make those fails or make those mistakes, the faster you're going to get to the success that you necessarily need. So for me, it was like, to be fair, I hit it off pretty decently a few times, but like first product we sold on TikTok might have done TikTok Shop, and I'm speaking like TikTok Shop specifically here because that's my industry and my niche. Like we've scaled 30 plus brands on the TikTok Shop platform to significant figures, right? But we're an agency, it's what we do. But I'm talking more like take these understandings and these, I guess what I'm saying and apply it to whatever it is you're doing, right? But like TikTok is a fast moving and fast growing platform. So I said to myself, right, if what I'm doing is right, it will just blow. First product we tried, it did about 4K, or like, let's just say that 4K in its first week. We got one viral video, first one, happy days, it was amazing. So that was like try one, that went great. Try two, flopped. Try three, flopped. Four, flopped. This is all stuff we had internally, in-house, whatever. First one went great, second try, third try, fourth try, wasn't great. Because I was buying stuff, trying other products we had on Amazon before, whatever it was. So then obviously what I've done, and like this is in a very short amount of time, I'm talking like a matter of weeks. This individual here will try the same thing and try and flog a dead horse for 1 year. But they'll also be happy with the fact that they're doing that, or I guess complacent with the fact that they're doing that, because they believe that good things take time and success is time-based. When actually, good things take right decisions and success is mistake within, well, how many mistakes you can make as quickly as possible based, right? So that's what this person's doing. And this is like in a matter of weeks, I quickly noticed that it wasn't shit products, it wasn't generic products that were going well. I noticed that it was brands that were popping off. So I'm like, let me develop my own brand. that's what I want to do to be successful on the TikTok Shop platform. This was mid-2023. So I started that brand. That went really well. Done about $1 million in 5 months. All right, which was really, really cool. But I wasn't like, also I knew wasn't the cap on it. So we're talking like between like May 2023 and end of 2023, I'd also started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more brands, all of which had done 6 figures before end of 2023. But here's where the magic happens, right? That has happened in a very, very fast amount of time. Not because of get rich quick, not because of anything other than I just squeezed all of that into a matter of weeks. I tried, tested so quickly, literally hit so many things, realized what didn't work, which led me to ultimately, like the fastest way to find what works is to rinse out what doesn't. Like that is literally it, right? So all of these brands went extremely, extremely, extremely well. And the reason I started a multitude of brands at this point is because I found it, I'll be honest with you, we had a strategy that really cranked, like done very, very well. And it was wasted on one product. And then I'll tell you, there'll be some more kind of business information here as to why we then went on to become agency and then number one agency, right? So there's a few learnings here, right? But this is what I'm trying to literally chuck out right now. From there, that was great. I couldn't invest that money elsewhere because it kept on scaling. Like when a brand's scaling hard, you've got to throw everything back into it, right? But I'm then like, I want to start more brands and I don't want to lose out on this opportunity. So this is like an example. If you don't have any money or you want to start and getting into something where, if you want to get into a business that you may not have any money to get into. I made a video about this for TikTok earlier as well. But it's like, for these businesses here, I had no money to jump into them, like none. So I'm like dead set on wanting to jump on a load of more brands, etc., etc. I was also conscious that this brand was inside that business it just was a very bad business to be inside, but like feud, it was going to go, and then obviously in 2024, start of it did. So these businesses, I'm like, a huge opportunity here. I haven't got any funds to fund it myself, because obviously the other business is fucking losing money as well. I want to start more brands, not just 5, but it just ended up being 5. I want to start more brands, but I didn't have any money to do it with because money was tied up in one business and I didn't want to do it inside that business anyway because of the issues. I had no money. But I also had a ridiculous amount of knowledge. And this is like one of the biggest things that I try and push in business. Biggest thing I try and push in business is like, if you have no money, that's okay. But the reason you have no money is because you have no value, right? I went to these individuals, those 5 different individuals, and I said this: I have a wicked idea. If you use your your money, we can make money together. And that was exactly what we're doing. I'm like, cool. I'm going to give an idea for a product and brand. You're going to pay for it. Do all the day-to-day logistics, operations, boring stuff that I physically can't do. Because again, like looking at that, I'm like, how can I make sure my time is spread properly on growth, what I'm good at, but not like, I could have easily got bogged down in the operations of one of these packing bags or whatever it might have been. I was like, no, you're doing all of that, just leave me to the growth, right? So those 5 brands, I had no money. I got partners. And I'll tell you why this was crucial as well. I got partners. They invested the money. They invested the dough. I grew them. Right? So I was growth only. I'm like, that's it. All I'm doing is making the sale. You do everything else. Right? They did the work. Okay? And as I mentioned, every single one of those 5 brands got 6 figures before the end of 2023. How did we do it? To be honest with you, like the strategy was incredible, but I think I found an opportunity, I saw it, and I wasn't too linear. I was like, I'm happy to make as many mistakes, I'm happy to just dive in, I want to do it as many times as physically possible. So like in the time frame of 2023, right, I tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different product / brand lines on TikTok Shop, where most individuals, and I've literally seen it, like from when I started, I've still seen people try and flog the same dead horse. That is this person. It's like, if you were inside an opportunity, don't be afraid to pivot inside that opportunity. Like another thing there was, why I was successful here is because I wasn't loyal to any of these brands. Like I didn't care that much about the product or anything involved in it. I was just like, I'm here to make money out of this machine, not out of my lovely love for my thing. Whereas I still see people who were there around the same time as this, who I might, actually, you know what, some of them, I might have even taken inspiration from at the time, but they've got left back in the times because they just weren't dynamic enough, right? So these all completely smashed it, which was great. I'll tell you what had to happen here though. Because I lost out on the last business, I had to use these as cash cows. So I was taking a percentage of profits to pay for the tens of thousands of debts that were coming in. All right, I'd take a percentage of profits, and when I could, sell and run. Right, I had to sell and run out of the brand. So I was taking the profits, which was paying the bills, which meant I could stop Jack's Amazon Club in due course and focus all my time on something else. Now, this made a lot of noise when I did this. All right, 10 opportunities within the space of like 8 months. Hit really hard, invested all my time and knowledge and effort into it. What I knew by the end of 2023 was enough to make me a millionaire. Even though, start of 2024, both my businesses were losing money, this was okay, but this one that made the most out of these five opportunities, I lost out with nothing. These all were paying the debts that this business had, which was Jack's Amazon Club. It was just brutal, right? So I took the profits, and when I could, I sold it and ran. But end of 2023, and this is where these two businesses started, agency and brand, started 2024, right? TikTok called. On a phone, let's see if I can do a good phone drawing. No, that's not great. TikTok called and said, hey Jack, you're starting loads of brands and pretty much all of them are succeeding right now. That's the tip of the iceberg. They didn't see the 4 or 5 before that were flopping badly, right? This is very interesting because we never see anyone, we've never seen anyone scale so many brands. Most people struggle to do just one. Well, that's because I'm not here to scale a brand that I'm deeply in love with, that I have mad loyalties to. I'm like, I see a machine here that works, that I can rinse and repeat and grow. So that's exactly what I did. But they were like, that's amazing. Do you fancy becoming a partner to us? Took some thought. I was like, yeah, cool. We'll get officially partnered with TikTok. Why not? And that's exactly what we did, which now made me an agency owner. Jan 24, again, we're going back again. But also this month I had a good conversation with a good friend of mine, and I'm like, yes, most of these now were looking like, okay, I'm jumping out of them, but also they weren't enough, and I didn't have enough in them to make it work. So the unfortunate thing about these brands is I could have actually done a lot better with them, but because I was in such a rush for the money, I was like, I'm just gonna take my profits, take the percentage profits, sell out the ones I could, like one I got like 15K for, one I got like 25K for, one I was getting paid like 4K a month for profit. So it was good money. But unfortunately, when you've got the money spent that we had, that was that. And of course, I'm in business for a much bigger thing, a much bigger income. Like that's just a financial blueprint. Book called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Building and working out your financial blueprint is like madly important. I won't go too much into it now, but like for me, it's different now. But for me, my thing was like 100K a month. I could just get a business to 100K a month as and when I wanted to. And I kept doing it. So agency Jan 24, and I also started a brand, my good friend in 2024, right at the very, very start. And obviously that's where both those things began. Now, the reason I took on the agency job was because I didn't have much money right now, so it's a good situation to be in. I don't have that much money. I can start this brand with my friend. He has leverage. He had 4K cash because he could sell his car. So it was in a better situation, right? And as an agency, I could do what I did for those brands, but just charge for it. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go because I can't really invest too much in e-com right now because I haven't got the cash to do it. And obviously, as we know, e-com needs a fair bit of cash at times. TikTok was an outlier in this position because it was like we were just making money out of nowhere. This was hard, the agency, because my first thing was like, okay, this has to make 20K a month for me to be even wash its face. Then I got some members of staff on board, so I'm like, now it needs to pay 25K a month just to wash its face. So I'm like, what's the fastest way of me getting this to £100,000? Like that is it. Like, and then I'm in a decent situation to then scale from there. And that is like the mindset I pushed with it. That was the same with this as well. How can we get that to 100K profit a month? So agency was the right model for me because I'm like, I can do TikTok shop, I can grow it, I can push it. With these strategies do work. I just can't do it specifically with my brands. And then we're going out, and then this is where the difference began, I guess. This is where I stepped into a new business, because I knew TikTok Shop, which was fine for the brand, so we grew that, and that's been growing significantly. And I knew how to grow I knew how to grow any brand on TikTok Shop, but I was very unaware on how to run an agency, which is a B2B service, because then obviously we need to go marketing. We need to outreach to people. We need to now set up on LinkedIn. We need to look all professional. We need a website. We need a name. We need a logo. We need to have email signatures. We need to draft contracts. We need to sign these people on. And then I signed on a brand 1, very early 2024. Signed on one brand, and I was like, cool, here's the strategy we're gonna go. And they said, no, we can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, brilliant. And they left. And that was that. So what I had to find was I had to find a brand that could scale to an unlimited basis, because the only reason that these didn't is because they didn't have the cash to do it. All right, so I had to find others who had the cash to grow these ones, but they didn't have the cash to grow it to significant figures, because these ones didn't have as much cash as this one. This one grew significantly quick, because it actually, to be fair, I actually bootstrapped that within the business, because there was no trust from anyone else involved. They all thought it was a mad idea until I added fucking an extra 20% net profit for the year within the space of 5 months. But that's just what I do, I guess. Petty is what it is. So yeah, so that's what we did. I then knew I needed to find, so brand 1 was brutal, brand 2, better, but still not great. Grew them quite nicely for the first 2.5 months. I had a 3-month contract, then they were like, see you later. I was like, oh, great. So that was great. We were working on revenue shares, which was, and fixed costs, which was all right, but that was okay, then it wasn't. So I was like, right. And like, just this mindset again. Fees on TikTok Shop aren't crazy. How can I find a brand that I can scale to millions monthly, quickly, that I can then take a share of? I'll just give an example. Let's say we're taking like 10%, right? How can I find a brand who can scale fast, who's not scared of investing, who I can then bring my strategy with, and we can just take over, right? July 2024, which was January, February, March, April, May, June. Actually, that's a lie. Jake Owen it was May, wasn't it? Brand came on?
Yeah,
May, excuse me, May 2024, found that company, found that client. 2 months in, million month, 100K in, plus about, a fair bit from other places. And that was like speedy, get in there. And then I'm like no longer really feeling the bootstrap as much. I'm like, it's growing, but I'm like, okay, great. That's fine for one thing. We'll talk about the brand in another video, to be honest with you, because that's done really, really well. But that's what happened. But like ultimately this happened because of one reason, right? I'm like, if I keep taking on brands that we took on before who weren't willing to invest, who were maybe worth, like generally speaking, maybe worth like 3K a month to us, I had no money. I had nothing to invest in this, right? I was in a really bad spot because I got fucked over for everything. So I'm like, if I take on 10 brands, I'm gonna have 0 time, but also I'm gonna have 30K, which will just about make it wash its face. But now I've got to find 10 companies, do the work for 10 companies, which means I'll probably have to hire an extra 2 people at bare minimum, maybe 3. And that would have killed me. So I was sat in the position of the business where I'm like, I need to grow this quickly, fast. And if I was doing it in the way that I saw I could do it, or most other agencies would do it, I actually would have gone bust. I would have gone bust, because even though this was growing well, again, it was e-com at the start, so like by middle of the year we were doing like 150K or whatever, 200K a month with like incredible margins, but it was all going back in because it was growing, right? So looking back on that, that was quite crazy, but I knew at the time, I'm like, I have to find something. And I think the difference is like financially, I'd done it before. Like we had months of 250K a month with RealJackDamz Club. We had record months in the Amazon business of like 60, 70K profit, which was great. So it's like, it's what I was used to, so it's not something I stepped into unknowingly being a possibility. I knew it was a possibility, but it was just how, or like in how am I going to do it in this new business, new manner that we're in. And I saw that as the one option, one route. I had the strategy, didn't have the cash. I had the new business, then I had the strategy, but didn't have any of the facilities or the know-how to grow it, because agency's brand spanking new to me. And Jake, when was EG25? September. So September we had our first £250,000 month with the agency, which was unbelievable. Or the month 30 days before that anyway, so August. And that's how we grew from that. Now, also within that time frame, sorry, I'm going to swing it all the way back now. There was a lot more brands in the in-between here. Brand 1, 2, 3, 4K. And like, here's the like honest part of it, which is like, I'm very proud of now. But I'm pretty sure there was like 6 brands, or probably more actually. Probably like 7 that we tried it with. But for me, I'm like, I need to hunt quickly and make sure these brands can get there. And as soon as I saw that they couldn't, I knew that like, if I kept on these and only made that more 20, 21K a month, I'd have been in big trouble, right? So I had to make sure that basically this was like going back to there again, but this is like, now I'm providing an agency service to these individuals. Now, generally speaking, you could have cut that down and spent all your time on just 3 of those to really crank it and make it right, but the income would have only been 9K a month, which would have left me in the dust. So it was about finding out, failing fast with all of these, and I had to fail fast with all of these, which has been like, get as much work done. So what they expected from a 3-month service, I was like, I need to get this done in 2 weeks, and they were very impressed with it, but the output wasn't there. Maybe on their side it was good, but for me it wasn't good enough. Like, in the first 2-3 months of this business, I think third month was like 20K, and that was from like just standard clients and like getting out there and actually giving a good service. But for me, I'm like, shit, this is not fast enough. This is not gonna do. Like this is gonna earn me a big trouble here. So the idea with that was like, I'm back in this position again, which is like, okay, cool, let's have a look at like agency owners. Okay, perfect. Agency owners first year, they might be getting those first couple of clients on and just moving really, really slowly with it. Whereas me, I'm like, fail fast until I find that one big one. It didn't even take me a year, and we got it in. And then it changed the game for everything, because now I'm scaling an amazing team with the cash flow, making the right investments with the cash flow. Like, we've gone from no one January last year to a team of like 14 of us now, which is like unbelievable, hiring some very senior staff and pushing on in a very good direction. So I guess the moral of the story is like, and there's so much learned inside this time frame, which is why I'm here and doing this and starting this, because I think like in this age frame of like, I don't know, 18 to 30 years old on social media, there's not much for people to like learn from, unless, like I say, it's like some guy in Dubai trying to rip you off with showing off some bullshit lifestyle. Like, don't get me wrong, I've got a Lamborghini, I've got the nice stuff, whatever it may be, but I don't need your money. Unless you're a TikTok brand who wants to get incredible results, of course, then of course give us a shout. Cheeky plug. But I don't need your money, because as you can see, I achieve in my life all of the goals that I want to through sheer hard work, determination, and failing fast and finding out fast. Like, what I've learned about sales, marketing, execution, ops, hiring in the past like 12 months, most people expect to be learning that in 10, 15 years. I'm not quite where we need to be yet. And I'm like, well, I'm only 14, 15 months into it or whatever. Whereas like some people would be happy with, I don't know, and fair enough, but some people would be happy with literally like a quarter of this a month or 1/10 of this a month after 5 years and be reasonable with that. Whereas for me, like understanding this one, I think this is it for me. Understanding this one, I guess, framework of like, good things don't take time and success is not time-based. It is all completely how fast you can make those failures based. That will set you up for an incredible amount of success, because I'm like me, I'm like going through, like the aim now is like, I'm going for an exit, right? That is going to be the plan. And I've seen the time frames that people typically want to do that in, and I'm like, I can do that faster. I just need to make all the mistakes. So whatever that person did for a 10-year exit or a 15-year exit, how can I look at getting that in 5? I just need to do as many things as they did in 15 years, squeeze that into 5 years. And it is very humanely possible because people waste a lot of time, energy, and effort. So getting rich quick doesn't happen without making a lot of mistakes and failures fast. But I hope this is testament to the fact that there's like a lot of things that are highly, highly possible. This is the first lesson I want to put out there. Everything else we're going to go over is like actionable steps, tips and tricks that you can use to better yourself, better your life, better your business, and achieve those goals and targets. Because like I say, I don't really see anyone else out here doing this, especially at a relatable age anyway. I was told the other day that the business isn't that relatable. I thought it was, but at a relatable age, I think it's going to be a fun journey. I really think it's going to be a fun journey. So the summary there is like, find someone who's been successful, understand what they did to do that, and do the shit they failed at as quickly as physically possible. For me, that's what I looked at, and it's done me. For the first 2 businesses, to be fair, I didn't have that. I just worked really hard and really wanted some nice things as quickly as possible, and I took those risks. But the second time round, I'm like, what I've really, really learned is like failing and trying as many times as physically possible, shooting the shot, knowing that it's not a time-based thing. It's like, well, if that person squeezed 1 mistake a day in 6 hours, let me just do 18 hours a day and I can do it 3 times faster than them. And take that on board. That's what we're gonna leave you with for today. It was a super last minute one. Wasn't sure how we wanted to do it, but at the end of the day, if you got value, let me know down below. That'd be much appreciated. But I thought, you know what, let's just get one out. Let's just start the YouTube ball rolling again. And if you're with me, you're going to see me build this business from exactly where we are today to a multiple 8-figure exit, which will be fantastic. And hopefully you can take value from all the steps along the way. So make sure you like, make sure you comment, subscribe, because that helps me with my confidence and happiness to make a load more valuable stuff. And of course, I'll see you in the next time.